All right, guys, good evening. So it's straight up and Dave here. So this is going to be the first episode of a series of video that I'm launching today. So this is going to be called Formation Tuesdays. So we are going to be looking at a breakdown of the market every Tuesday. So why Tuesday? Most people do analyze the market on Sunday, but from my understanding of the market, the Sunday analysis is good for Sunday evening trading, Monday, and then Tuesday. And the market will take a different form of structure depending on the whole bigger picture of the market, and then move in a different sort of direction for the week. Might not necessarily be a different direction, but if the market is looking to go in that same direction, it would give a sort of a reaction and then continue in that sort of direction. So from my understanding of the market, the best day to analyze the markets is on Tuesday, because on Tuesday, the analysis of you do on Tuesday is good for you to do one analysis that can give you an overview of the market for the rest of the week, and also for the early stage of the coming week. So if you analyze on Tuesday, it's enough for you to be able to look at what the market is looking to do for the week, and also for the next week, Monday and then Tuesday. So for anyone that has studied with Smith Village, you see this is a concept that we follow to help you break down the market for the entire week, right? I'm not saying analyzing on Sunday is wrong, but analyzing on Sunday, depending on the structure of the market, is good for Monday and Tuesday trading. And if you analyze on Tuesday, it could give you an idea of what the market is looking to do for the entire week. So that is the idea of Formation Tuesday. So this is going to be the first video for Formation Tuesday. That's why I'm giving a little breakdown. So this is episode 1 of Formation Tuesday. So let's go. So the market we are going to look at would be US oil. So we'll look at the breakdown of US oil. We'll look at DXY, the dollar index. DXY, the dollar index. Then we'll look at JPYBASKET. And then we might have a glance at the US 10-year bond. We'll look at EURAUD GBP, AUD NZD, USDJPY, EUROCHF, JP225, and depending on other structures that have some sort of opportunity in the market, we would add all those structures to it. So let's start off with the US oil. So let's go to the weekly time frame. So here on the weekly time frame, we could see oil made a very big rally from when we had a crash back in 2020, and we had the market making this rally back to this top here. So if we go back, you can see that this level where price is a really significant price. So price has run into these levels here. So let's highlight this level here. But ideally, the ultimate end of this range is at a high here. So we would want to see the market make a move ideally to that level to complete the range. But let's narrow it down and look at what we see here. So here at this level here, on the weekly time frame, we have price creating this strong level here. And we also have price setting liquidity here. So this is a level where we could see price potentially dropping. And for the past couple of weeks, I've been looking at price dropping off this level here. We see this nice rejection here. So let's scale it down and see what of structure that we are getting from that level. So we have, today has been bearish for oil. We see that rejection, right? So what would I be looking out for oil? So this is not bearish, it is still bullish, but this rejection is significant. So what we can do here, for us to see at least some bearishness coming into the market, the first thing we'll be looking out for so the first sort of sign we would want to see here to see some bearishness coming into US oil is at least a break of this line here, but we still see this as bullish because that's what the structure says. On a 4-hour time frame, this is what we see. We could see price making a rally, a drop into this level. So let's look carefully. We've seen a structure break here on the 4-hour time frame. So we broke this structure here. And then, so this is the high that we created. We've broken a low. So what we are looking out for here is that we need price to make a push up, but fails to break this high. So something of this sort. So here I'll be looking at a 50% retracement or a 618 retracement going into this level here. So I'm looking at this zone here. So going into the Asian session, if we see price pushing up into this zone and we fail to break this high and we maintain this level here, we are going to see oil drop from here down to first level, at least the 1.618, which will be these lows here. Price rally dropping down into these lows here on US oil, right? So that is the first sort of sign that we want to see. But then a break of this first trend line here would see price shifting, because this is what a really big uptrend. So you don't want to be trading against the trend, but what we've seen here, we are not really going to take the trade until we see the market reject here. And this would be for those that are looking for really risky entry. So here, if you sell here, then your stop loss would be what? Here. But if you are very conservative, you want to see what's the trend line broken, then you could take this out here. But oil is not something that I trade. I use oil as a correlative pair. So I think I'm going to explain this in subsequent videos. I don't want this session to be a really long session. So the next thing we'll look at is the dollar index. So let's start from the weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame on the dollar index, what do we see? Well, we can see the market created a weekly double bottom here, weekly double bottom. And then we broke an intermediate high on the weekly time frame. Right? And this level-ish looks like the market came back to test this level on the weekly time frame, right? And what did we do? The market pushed up to break this high here. So this high here was broken by this level here, which is really very important for us to take note of. But what we can see here is last week, after this drop down here, after the rejection here, price created a low, and that low was a little higher. So this looks like we could see price making a rally to the top. So at the beginning of the week, we see price pushing back down a little bit. So what are we looking for here? Because of, so on the daily time frame, what do we see here? We can see price is creating this level here. So let's analyze this and see what is going on here. So we see price creating this high here, drops and create this low here and breaks the high here. And then we fail to break this high here. So if you look at this, this is what we see here. All right, connecting the lows and the high. You see, this is like the flow of the market that we have here. Today we had a drop down here, right? But it does not change the overall structure here. So what we'll be looking out for is, we are looking for bullish opportunities here into this level here. If price rejects this level, then that will give us a head and shoulders. But if you look technically, what makes this market a little tricky here at the moment is, you see this high, and if this low holds, that will give us some sort of head and shoulders pattern here on the daily time frame. But we don't want to make any quick decision here, right? So on the weekly and the daily time frame, we are the structure looks very bullish, but we don't want to make any decision right now. We want to see a shift in structure coming in, at least from the 4-hour time frame. So let's look at the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame here, this is what we see. We see price running into this liquidity level here, rejection, and then we are coming down. So what we want to see here, basically, let me clear this here. I'll keep those levels. What we want to see here basically is price. If Dixie is going to push up, we need to see this zone expected here. So something of this sort. Continue drop to this level and then a push. And a push up. But for long-term trading, if you want to see how Dixie is going to play out for long-term, you don't want to look at Dixie bouncing up from here. What you would want to look at is a break of this level here. And then if you finally break here, that would be a long push to the downside. But currently we are sort of in this range here. So this is the range that we are in here. Price creates this level here, this level, that level, this level, and this level here, right? So we either stop here or stop on this trend line and then push up if price is going to look bullish. So when we do this, we would want to also look at the sort of structures that are forming on the US dollar pairs to help us to make a decision on what we could expect on the dollar, right? So next, what we are going to look at here is the JPY basket. So the JPY basket is one of the instruments that you need to analyze if you want to trade. If you want to trade Japanese yen, you need to look at the JPY basket. So Japanese yen is just like Dixie is for US dollar, right? So here on the weekly time frame, we see price rally into this level here. We've had some multiple rejections here. 1, 2. Today, this week, at the opening of this week, we see price pushing up into these levels here and rejecting back down. So this level is still very bearish because price even ran into this level here. That was 2 weeks ago. 1 to 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, price ran into this level and reversed. So this is kind of in a situation where oil is. So we have oil pushing up to a level to the upside that we are looking for it to reverse. This is the same kind of situation that we are seeing on the JPY basket. So from what we see here on the weekly time frame, this is a key point where price will be looking to push up for at least some short to medium term level, at least to test this level. But as we can see here on the weekly time frame, we are still what? Very, very bearish. But because of the levels that we are running into, there's a very high probability of price making a push from here. So here on the daily time frame, we see price come here, make a rejection, comes here, make a rejection. Today, this is what we see. We see a very big drop here. But the drop, where did it come to? The drop ran into this level here. So we want to see how the Asian session goes. If we see the Asian session pushing into this zone and struggling this zone, it means we are going to see strength coming into the Japanese yen for the coming week up to around 91, 96. But let's look at what we see on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, this is what I'll be looking at. Just like the way we're expecting a drop on DXY, we want to see a push down and a push up. Something of this sort. Push down, push up to this level, come back down, and then a push up. This is a sort of scenario I'm seeing with this market structure here. So hopefully we are looking for a very bullish Japanese yen, which means we should see the Japanese yen pair setting up. So we should see the GJ looking to sell, AJ looking to sell, NJ looking to sell, and stuff like that. The last major instrument that we will look at is a US 10-year bond. So those of you who follow me on Instagram, I've done a breakdown on this instrument. This is the US 10-year bond. And what happens is when bond prices increases, the US dollar becomes strong. So there is a whole fundamentals about this, which I might decide to break down later in the course of this series, right? So here we can see the 10-year tenor is really bullish here. So this was the level where we were the last time when I spoke of price making a push to the upside. So this breakdown I did on the weekly time frame, where price was around this level here. And for this past couple of weeks, we see price pushing up. Right. What is important here is this level where price is in at the moment makes it a very critical level on the weekly time frame. So let's look at this Fibonacci. Right. So price is currently in a supply zone that we could see a drop from here. So this is the only thing that would convince me to looking for long-term bearishness on the dollar, but I would want to see the structure shift itself. Although from what we are seeing on the 10-year tenor, if it rejects from here and it start pushing back down, we would see a similar reaction in the dollar index, which means we would see the dollar index dropping. But what mostly happens is the 10-year tenor will take the lead and then the dollar index would follow. So I wouldn't base my decision on that to just go in and start looking for US dollar strength. I would want to see this react here before I would go in to make a decision on that. But we would expect a pullback on the 10-year tenor within this zone here. So now let's look at some correlated pairs. I'm not going to look at Euro GBP. This trend is really very bearish. We run into these levels here, but I'm not going to look at this breakdown. So from what we've looked at so far, let's look at a few US dollar pairs and Japanese yen pairs and see whether we are the strength that we are anticipating is being translated here. Right. So here on NU, price breaks this level on the weekly time frame, pulls back, tests that level. But this week has been kind of up and down here. Let's go to the daily time frame. So for today, we see price pushing back into this level here. Right? But this level is very tricky at this point. The only time I will start looking for selling opportunities here from what we are seeing on Dixie, if Dixie drops, the only time I'll be looking for selling opportunity is below this level here. When we break this level here, that's when I'll start looking for selling opportunity, at least on the daily time frame. But let's see what sort of structure we have on the 4-hour time frame. So you can see here at this moment, today, this is a drop for today. Price drop. Now, we are on the 4-hour time frame, right? So price, this is a move for today. You can see the whole of today has been corrective. So what we'll be looking at here is this level here, this one, and this low here. If you want to be very conservative, right, you would want to take sales below this level here into this level here, right? Because we are anticipating what? A strong dollar. As in, we want to see the Dixie continue pushing up. Let's see what we see on GBPUSD. So GBPUSD, this is GBPUSD on a 4-hour time frame. Just at a glance, I see there is a potential of price dropping to this level because of the rhombus pattern that we see here. So once again, this is one of the strategies that we trade in Smith Village, where we look at we read the patterns in the market to help us with identifying the potential direction of the market. So this is a rhombus. And when this happens, it means price has the potential of running all the way to around this level here, but we need to scale it down. That was just by the way, I just spotted it and I had to mention it. Let's go to the weekly time frame on the Dixie, the pound USD. So pound USD at this moment on the weekly time frame, we see price is struggling to make a decision here. Price is really struggling to make a decision here. We had this sort of a spinning top on the weekly time frame, and price is struggling to reject here. So what we can look at here, we see a sideways movement here. Let's scale down to the 4-hour and see. So this is the 4-hour is where we have the rhombus, and we could be looking at potential downside. But if you are looking at the price action, this is what we want to be seeing. If you are looking to buy, if you are looking to sell from our buyers on the US dollar, what we want to see is price closing below this level here. And when it pulls back, we look for selling opportunities here. So depending on what kind of strategy that you trade, you could find an entry based on that kind of strategy that you trade. But for you to be looking bearish here, you would want to see the level here broken. So we've already seen price grabbing liquidity to the downside here. But after the grabbing liquidity, it comes back and rejects this level and rejects this level too. So this is the level that we are trading in between. So for sales, you would want to see a close below this level, and you can sell at least up to this point here. And depending on how price reacts to this level here, we could see price going down in a long term by breaking that level. So that is GU and NU. But let's look at GJ and see what sort of structure we have on GJ. So here on GJ, on the 4-hour time frame, what I see just at a glance is price is looking to push up, and then at this level look to drop from here. So what are the key things that we need to pay attention to? First of all, we need to look at this high here. We don't want to see any close above this high here. And then this low, if we are very conservative, we want to see price close below this level before we start selling. But currently, what can we do? We can connect our trend line from here to here and look for selling opportunities as soon as we close below here. But if you are an aggressive trader, you would want to wait for the price to get here. And whilst the market is here, that's when you'll be looking for selling opportunities from this level here. So this is one of the pairs that I'm watching out for, and it's on my watch list for the week. I would want to see the Asian session make a rally into this region and then drop. And here you could add more position if you already sold here. And when it breaks this level, you can add more position. And if it breaks this level, you can add more position. But what you don't want to do is to start selling right now, right? You don't want to sell right now. We need some confirmation coming in before we would look for selling opportunities on this pair. So if you are aggressive, this presents a really good opportunity here, here, and there. So depending on the kind of risk you're looking to take, then you can use any of the three levels to decide on what you want to do. Another thing you want to look at is you don't want to see this high broken. If this high gets broken, then that is a big issue. It looks like we would be looking to push upside. So this is GJ, and we need to keep an eye on it. And if we catch this trade, this will be a really good swing for the week to ride this move all the way down. All right, we've reviewed that. We've looked at GBPUSD. So let's have a look at NZDJPY. NZDJPY on the weekly time frame looks bullish. So we have this 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. This is this week, last week, 2 weeks ago, and then 3 weeks ago. We see price pushing up, and currently we are here. We see that New Zealand is really strong. So let me take a quick glance at AUD. So New Zealand is not really strong. Let me see 4 hour. Right. New Zealand is not really strong at the moment. It looks like JPY is the one that is actually weak currently. So here too, what will I be looking for? I want to see price push up to. So if you see the structure, you can see this one is very similar to that of GJ, just that with different candles. So NJ will be looking at price making a way to this top here, and we don't want to see this high broken. And then we can start taking sell from here going down. And if this happens, we should see JP225 push down. And when JP225 push down, it's going to drive the stock markets down as well. Right? So as I've been saying for some time, if this is the first time of seeing me analyze or talk about anything, you would know like I'm a big fan of correlation. Correlation don't work all the time, but it gives you an idea of what kind of sorts you should be looking at depending on what kind of instrument that you're trading. Right? But I didn't intend for this session to be very long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly select another instrument and then we'll look at it. So one of the two pairs that I've currently adapted and I'm trading is AUDCHF. AUDCHF and then EURAUD. EURAUD. So here currently from the structure that we see here, we seem to be struggling around this level here. So price, this is a high and this is the low. High and low, high and low. So we are on the 4 hour time frame. Before we look at this, let me quickly have a glance at the weekly and the daily time frame to see where we are looking at on this one. Daily, weekly. So on the weekly, this is what we see. We see this big drop coming from last week. We could see, we could see a momentum continue from here. But mostly, what is also likely possible is after this drop, we could see price recover. But looking at this scenario, that's not the kind of picture that we see here. We see triple top here, and then we see a rejection. There's a high probability of this continue going down. All right. Another reason why I'll be a little careful with this is because of the location of the hidden resistance in the zone here. So daily time frame, we can confirm the bearishness of this level here. So we see this. This is how the daily candle for yesterday closed. So I think the market just opened a few minutes ago. And this looks like price could drop a little further, but we wouldn't make any decision for a trade on this instrument. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, what are we looking at here? If we want to be really conservative, what are we going to look for? If we want to be conservative and not take on too much risk, what we would like to see is this price breaks this level and push back up. And then inside the zone, we'll be looking for a selling opportunity from here. A selling opportunity from here all the way to this level here. So this is what I'm seeing on the EURAUD. Right. As I said, to be conservative, wait for the break and a pullback. To be looking for a selling opportunity here, whilst we keep an eye on this upper zone. And that is where our stop loss would be looking to be. So if you hit your stop loss or price is approaching your stop loss, that is a point to tell you that price might not continue going up. And that is the time for you to get out of the trade. Finally, we'll look at AUDCHF. So it's AUDCHF on a 4-hour time frame. I see a buy here, but this buy might not last. It depends on how the market decides to play out here. Depending on how the market decides to play out here, this buy might not be running for a long time. So here, this is what I see. The price is looking to push up from here into this zone here. So this looks like something I'll take, but this is a really, really small risk to reward ratio. Stop loss here, take profits here. I don't really trade on the exchange session, but sometimes you go in with this kind of sort, you could make some callbacks before the market opens. So here you don't need to risk a lot here. You can just look for, this is about 1:1.32, which is not that bad. We could see price rallying from here. It's at this point that we can get more information on where the instrument is looking to do. So this is about 34 pips, just 34 pips. But the risk reward ratio is really bad. So don't look to take this trade if you are looking for something really significant or a good to risk reward ratio. This is not it. Right? So I've spent a few more minutes in addition to what I plan to do, but I wanted to use this to kind of explain what this series is going to be. And because other weeks, we are just going to go straight to the point and talk about the various instruments with less talks. We are not going to spend a lot of time doing this, so the time would be a little shorter and we could add more pairs to it, right? So if you enjoyed this video and then you are looking for more videos in the coming week, this is a new channel. I think currently I have 46 subscribers the last time I checked. Like, subscribe, and then also share, invite your friends to like and subscribe, and then let's push the algorithm to identify the channel for more fire coming, right? So this is one, I'll just look to, this is not the kind of trade I'll take, but this looks sweet, so I'll just take this 34 pips. And then we'll look at what the market does going into New York tomorrow. And we will see what sort of structure that the market presents for us. So once again, like, share, subscribe, and then let's vibe.